Right, welcome back to the Vengacast. Today I'm here with Lewis.
Hello.
Lewis has already been on, talked about the Lakers the other day. You have a good time?
Yeah, it was really enjoyable.
And then we've also got Dan with us today.
Hi.
Dan's a Brooklyn Nets fan, so I'll start off by asking Dan, how did you get into the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, it was like 2 years ago. I realised I wanted to start following basketball.
Yeah.
And it had to be an East Coast team because of the time zones. I actually wanted to watch a few of the games at least. Still, it's quite late, so you can't watch every game. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I didn't want to follow a really good team, so the Nets were pretty bad a couple of years ago. So, and now they're all right. So
yeah, I was going to say doing all right at the minute, sitting quite comfortably in playoffs at the minute, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. So worked out in the end.
Yeah. So during this, we're just going to be going through quite a controversial topic than the NBA, I guess. A few expansion cities, and then even more controversial, which teams, if there was a relocation rather than an expansion, who would be relocated?
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
You sound with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. I guess I'll just, who wants to start? Just suggest a city.
I think the most obvious city would have to be Las Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to say Seattle and Vegas.
I would
probably
say
the two
Seattle,
most obvious ones.
Yeah, I just think, although the Supersonics were a heavily marketable team, they had some good players. I just think with Las Vegas, it's just such a vibrant city. Obviously there's the Raiders in the NFL that go in there as well.
Yeah.
And it's such a big city to have literally no sports teams apart from ice hockey there.
I was going to say, I think you can look at how successful that move was because the Golden Knights had an incredible first year, broke records for an expansion in hockey.
And I'm not being funny, although you could argue it might lead to more super teams because obviously Vegas would have a lot of money, so there will be someone who will be willing to invest and go over this max salary cap and pay the tax. I just think it's the ideal city for everyone, and I think even the players, not just who play for Vegas, but also the players in the league would absolutely love it as well. You know what
definitely.
I mean?
Just getting over to Vegas, playing a game there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think the main pros of moving to Vegas would be, other than obviously it being Vegas itself, such a good, vibrant city to go to?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's definitely something for the people that actually live in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Although obviously there is loads to do in Vegas, absolute shit tons.
Yeah.
It gives it a lot more marketability, and it's such a marketable team as well. And I think having a team of that sort of nature there, it's kind of for me and the Lakers, it's and the Nets and the Knicks, it's that sort of city where you get attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having a team in Vegas is that sort of thing. And it also as well stop potential super teams forming Golden State, because this is a lot more vibrant locations to go to. They're going to be less inclined to want to make teams that.
It's going to appeal to more free agents.
Yeah, definitely.
I also think Vegas, obviously the T-Mobile Arena's there. That's sort of they don't have to build a new arena if they were going to put a basketball team there. That's just ready-made to just throw one in straight away.
Yeah, exactly. So, because obviously the Knicks and the Rangers do the same at Madison Square Garden as well.
Yeah.
They just change the courts most night. Mm-hmm. So
I know a lot of places do that. Philly does it as well.
The Nets and Islanders do it as well.
The Islanders have moved back into Long Island now in the Coliseum.
Oh,
but yeah, I think that they're getting a new arena. But yeah, they did share, like you said. I know Philly do it as well. A few teams do it.
Yeah, so it just provides that sort of a lot more marketability. It would just make, for me anyways, I think it's the most no-brainer place to put a team.
It's another large market area, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, there'd be so much money put into it. Mm-hmm. Which is also only going to benefit the NBA as well.
Yeah, I also think you were saying it's for the people of Vegas, but I also think Vegas as well is such a touristy destination. You've both been, and do we know how many British and not just British, people from all over the world going to Vegas.
There was probably more tourists there than what there was actual residents.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think if there was a basketball team there, people going to Vegas, because I know if I went to Vegas now, I'd probably want to see a Golden Knights game, just because why not while you're there?
Because when
I think it would be the same for them.
It was just before they were like the merchandise that came out, but it was just before the hockey season. Yeah. So I was quite gutted that I didn't actually get to see them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a bit off topic from the NBA, but the Golden Knights made the Stanley Cup final in their first year. They literally smashed it.
Yeah.
So would an NBA team have the same success there in their first year? It would be a bit harder, but it could be possible.
Yeah, definitely could be.
Dan, then what would be the cons of moving to Vegas, maybe?
Well, the NBA season's already long enough. And I think if you're doing expansion, you have to add at least another 2 teams to make like the conferences even.
Yeah.
You can't just have 31 teams, if you know what I mean. So that would expand the season even further. Plus, if you are talking expansion, you have to think of Seattle and Vegas, and that's 2 West teams in an already like West-heavy league.
Who gets moved in the East?
Yeah, exactly. There's that problem as well, like Memphis, or is it New Orleans, or So there's a few issues with it. I mean, I would say there's more pros than cons overall.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think like you said, the main con with going to Vegas, if it was an expansion especially, would be I think a lot of Western teams would want to go into the East and then not go into the East for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because obviously the East is like...
Who do you think would get moved into the East if a Western team did get an expansion or 2 expansions in this case?
If there's 2 expansions in the West, it would have to be Memphis, surely.
Yeah.
I think they're the closest, aren't they?
I think it would either be Memphis, New Orleans, or Minnesota. I think they'd be the 3 that Pete would maybe be discussing.
Got the 2.
I think New Orleans would be quite a good shout because like they are a very low market team. But that's what I view it as anyways. And also, I think
this is tampering. He's just trying to get Anthony Davis there.
Actually, what I was actually just about to say is it seems pretty clear that AD is going to leave, so they haven't really got that superstar there that kind of puts on a show every night. So that's just furthering bringing down the market value, which gives an even better argument than shipping them into the East instead.
Yeah. I'd like to see Minnesota moved into the East. I know it's probably out of the 3, probably the least likely, but I'd love to see a Milwaukee-Minnesota rivalry, sort of the same that we get in the NFL with the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah.
Moving on then, Dan, you want to throw a city out there? Obviously, I think you were saying another major city.
Well, yeah, the obvious ones are Seattle and Vegas, but there's others in the East as well, like Louisville and Kentucky. That's quite that could be quite a big market.
Why Seattle's such an obvious choice?
Because they've already had the Supersonics. I think Seattle wants a team back.
Yeah, I also think maybe Seattle's
Seattle's
such a major city. It's sort of a joke that they don't have a basketball team.
Yeah, it's another large market area again.
Yeah, I mean Seattle's got an NHL expansion coming out soon. So once they've got that, they'll have that city will have every sport except basketball.
Yeah, so I mean,
it just sort of seems out of place.
Then that would then also put in a similar situation to Vegas, because I think Seattle is quite known as quite a nice place to live. So I think it would be stupid, especially if they have all the other sports teams as well. Yeah, I think it would be very, very, very stupid. I mean, obviously there is 2 Miami teams, but you could also argue that Tampa Bay could warrant an NBA expansion for the simple fact is they've got an ice hockey and American football team.
I don't know. I think the Magic needs that fan base in Tampa to stay.
Yeah, it's quite close to that.
I mean, we need them fans.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it could be like if using that argument in Seattle, you could also use that argument for other areas and stuff like that. So it's definitely an option.
With Seattle as well, I know for the hockey team coming in, they're doing a massive renovation to the Key Arena, which is where the Seattle Supersonics played. So once again, same as Vegas, they would have an arena just to move straight into.
Yeah,
like infrastructure's already
I think
there.
that's a key part of maybe if an expansion happened. That's something they'd look at because the city doesn't want to be spending too much money going out their way to build a new arena.
Definitely.
This is quite a controversial one. I'm just going through a list here of 8 teams that would be best for an NBA expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, they've got London, which I'm not too sure about.
No, I mean,
that should
I
never
mean,
happen.
I was gonna say, like, we've got our league here, and like, you know, considering I used to play basketball and stuff like that, I have watched quite a lot of the teams here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, don't get us wrong, the standard of basketball, obviously, it is good because, you know, the professional basketball players. However, in comparison to the NBA, it's just a different level. But I also think as well, like, is there even an English player in the NBA at the minute?
No, there's not.
I think there's one, isn't there? Where's that OG Anu?
OG
Oh,
Anu.
yeah.
OG
I
for Toronto. I think he's English.
Is he from London?
There's one.
And
he's from London.
you know,
one,
it's not exactly like he's a big player or anything like that either.
Yeah,
So, you know, it kind of just says to me, like, we would be not the best place to make a team, and it's an American league, not a worldwide league. You know what I mean?
The Americans like to think that they're calling themselves world champions.
It wouldn't make sense to have a team in London.
No, but I think that there's 2 obvious cons here. Like you said, I just don't think England, even though we're all NBA fans from England, I just don't think it has the draw here yet.
And travelling for the players.
Yeah, I was going to say that's sort of a second major one. What a nightmare that would be. Trying to travel for a week.
I mean, I'm not being, but traveling across America can easily be a 3,000-mile round trip.
Yeah.
If you come to London,
it's hard enough. Exactly.
Yeah, you're talking. God, who knows? Because depending on where they come from, it could be a 15-hour flight.
Like a Portland, London.
That'd be
absolutely disgusting.
I was gonna say that would be the main issue. How the hell would they work out the scheduling for that? Like, would you do all the home games in one and then send them across to America for the rest? Because surely you couldn't do. You wouldn't be able to do like a home game and an away game and back and keep going like that.
No.
Exactly. It'd be a nightmare.
And back to back.
It just wouldn't be plausible. Because imagine playing a full 48 minutes and then, you know, going in the locker rooms and you're like, shit, can't even celebrate a victory. We're going to be at the airport in half an hour.
Yeah. It's like, we've got a flight.
Can't even shower or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the pros for this, I guess you could say the NBA London game that happens every year gets quite a bit of traction now. That usually sells out every year, too.
But you gotta think as well though, that is once a year.
Exactly.
If it was every week, week
over the course of the season,
considering, you know, there's so many football teams in the UK as well that people want to go and watch. If there's a choice between, say for example, it was in London, it was either the Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham game, or going to say your London basketball team, who are you going to go and watch? And I'd probably say 90% of people in London would choose the football team.
I also think NBA in England at the minute, even though I like both, it's getting sort of killed by the popularity that NFL has over here now. Because NFL's getting huge over here now. They're bringing more and more London games every year.
It used to be the other way around. It used to be NBA was getting quite popular, I found. And then all of a sudden, it's just American football has just literally blown up out of nowhere.
I think because of Sky. Sky started showing them NFL and it just got huge.
Yeah, well, they've started doing it with NBA now.
Yeah, this year, Sky started showing NBA, so we might see that popularity rise with NBA as well.
Hopefully.
I mean, I think they need to show more games. Because NFL, you've got the games every Sunday. They show every playoff game. You know, they don't
I was going to say, when I had Sky Sports for that short little time, like, you only get a basketball once every few days.
Yeah, I was going to say. It doesn't seem like they're on that a lot.
No, and you get 3 at a time, bearing in mind. But like at the same time, it's like I can't watch 3 basketball games at once.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I know it's hard to think of some, but what would actually be the pros of having an NBA team in London? Then,
I mean, like we kind of discussed there, it would probably expand the support of basketball in the UK, which could then lead to a lot more talented and exciting prospects in here because it would probably raise the standard so much.
Yeah, and people would get used to seeing it as well.
Yeah, and I suppose also as well for the UK people, you would get to see a lot more sports superstars. You know what I mean? Because it's like I remember like me and you saying, Joe, like we went to go and see the Knicks play. Yeah. And like for me, being a massive basketball fan, it was quite like awe-inspiring to see like Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, you know, people like that. Like
all the best players.
not even though they're not like someone out of LeBron or Giannis's standard, but they are like still superstars.
You still respect how good they are.
Well, one's an all-star now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So say one of the best players in the league. It is still quite awe-inspiring. So imagine if like the Lakers were coming over here and like everyone knows LeBron, everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would just make it would probably make the UK like quite a lot of money as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I think this would make the league a lot of money as well if this happened. I think it would benefit. I think it would benefit the league more than anyone if this actually happens.
Yeah.
The amount of money that would be going into it from TV rights and stuff like that.
So much money, it'd be ridiculous.
But yeah, ultimately, I don't see that one working.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I know. Probably that's third on the list.
No suggestion, Dan. I'll let you start with this one. Vancouver. What would be the pros of putting a team back in Vancouver?
Well, there's another team in Canada for a start. So you could have Toronto, Vancouver sort of rivalry. I think Vancouver would be in the West though.
With Canada, because it's so big, people don't realise that would actually be like one of the furthest away games in the NBA.
Mm.
But yeah, like you were saying, they'd be the two Canadian teams if that was to happen. I definitely think Canada deserves more than one.
Yeah, but having said that, I think the Grizzlies sort of failed in Vancouver, didn't they? In terms of like
they're not doing too well in Memphis
fans
either, to be fair.
Or something along those lines. That is true. I know Memphis is a very small market area, but we'll get onto that a bit later. I think Vancouver could do with a team, but I think it's quite obvious there's other areas which could do a team even more, if you know what I mean. Like, sort of Vancouver have had their chance.
Yeah.
It didn't really work
It's sort of been there before, and they've sort of maybe had their chance, you could argue. Sort of say, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Lewis, what would be maybe the main cons of moving back to Vancouver, other than sort of they've already had a team there and it didn't work out?
Well, like you say, it would be the furthest away game in the NBA.
Yeah, it'd be one of them, definitely.
And I think that would be quite grueling for a lot of players, for the simple fact is if you're playing in Canada and then say you had to play the Magic or the Heat or something like that, you know, that would
be one hell of a journey.
Yeah, like even just for one game to then play 3 home games on the bounce, that is still quite tiring, because especially if you had like a back-to-back to go to like Miami to then go back to Vancouver would be quite grueling on the body. So I think, you know, it's the same sort of thing with London. Like, it is, although it's obviously not as far, it could still do quite a lot to player welfare. And I think that could also put quite a strain on a team in Vancouver, which is maybe why it wasn't successful in the past, because the players did struggle with, you know, sort of just the time differences and then all the travelling and stuff like that. But I suppose as well, like, although Vancouver is a huge city, I don't know if it just has the interest of, like, the fans. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, ice hockey's a lot bigger up there and stuff like that.
I was going to say, yeah.
But although they are still good at basketball, it's not the main sport. Which may limit attraction.
I was going to say, I think that would be the main problem in Vancouver, that I don't think the fans there. I don't obviously know Vancouver well at all, but from what I know about ice hockey and that, I just think that's the sport in Canada.
Yeah,
and even though NBA's worked in Toronto, I don't really think you can compare Toronto to the rest of the Canadian cities because of the size difference and sort of metropolitan status that it has.
And it's also a lot closer as well, which makes...
Yeah, 2 teams like Boston and like areas like that.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier. Like Toronto is essentially like right next to New York. You know?
Yeah, well, Toronto's literally next to Detroit, Milwaukee. They're all so close.
It's next to Minnesota.
Maybe
as
like
well.
an hour flight.
Yeah. It's so...
Yeah, literally just where the lakes are. It's just so close to all of that.
Yeah, so that makes it a lot easier for the players for both teams in that sense. Whereas like traveling all the way to Vancouver, you know, it's a different kind of beast.
I also think, like, I know you mentioned before when we were talking about Vegas and Seattle, that sort of appeal that they'd have to players that would want to live there. Do you think many players would actually look at Vancouver and go, that's somewhere I want to go.
Nah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Maybe like retirement years or something like that, but not like
just go for a nice view.
Yeah, not when you're like in your prime sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like when
it's hard.
It's not like LA or New York.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Vancouver is probably one of the least likely places for an expansion to happen.
Yeah. What you were saying about Toronto being close to cities like Boston and New York and all that, I'll go in Canada again. It's not on the list, but another team in Canada who's close to all of them again, even closer to the likes of Boston and New York, Quebec, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
French market.
Yeah, I suppose because like the French quite like the basketball as well.
Yeah, I always think Griezmann, he loves the Nets.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like that. Obviously, that is quite a predominantly French area, so that could very, very easily bring in the fans. But then at the same time as well, like it's in Canada, like it's still going to be the same. Like ice hockey is going to be the main sport.
Yeah,
so I think that's one thing. I think the NBA will struggle with in Canada.
I definitely think, that's the big debate for the NBA in Canada. Can it compete with ice hockey?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it could help expand the league, like globally. You have a French market,
because I think if you put a team in Quebec, maybe people in actual France as well, and even maybe French-speaking countries sort of have a bit of respect, like, they're taking notice of the French market.
More of an interest.
So we're interested.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So maybe on a global scale it could help as well.
I've just thought of like a really weird one, but I mean, it'd be really like unlikely, but somewhere in Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Like, I mean, obviously it's quite out the way, you know, being a little island.
Yeah, that's the problem like again, travel.
But I suppose with it being such a little island, it could generate quite a lot of fan interest, because I can't think of any sports teams in Hawaii. So, you know, if they've got a basketball team, maybe a lot of people would be inclined to travel to travel to go and see the team, sort of thing. If you get what I mean.
I'm just looking, and the issue here again is travel, because I've just looked, and a flight from Boston to Hawaii is 13.5 hours. I think that's the thing people don't realise about America sometimes.
Yeah,
it's just
so
the scale is huge.
That's why I said it was quite a weird one, because I was thinking, well, obviously it's a little island off the side, but you know.
Yeah. But I definitely think that's the only issue in Hawaii.
Yeah. So, because I think it would definitely get the fan interest in the market there. Because obviously, if it's the only team, you know, there's literally no excuse for them not to get the market.
Yeah, I also think if I was a player, I'd want to live in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to live in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's nice beaches, you know, just nice in general, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Another one which a lot of people have sort of been rumouring for a few years, they've got one of the best NFL teams at the minute, Kansas City.
I never even thought of Kansas, actually.
Yeah,
I never thought of Kansas, to be honest.
Quite a sporting city. Obviously, the Chiefs there.
Yeah.
And they've also got, I'm trying to think what the MLS team's called again. I think is it Sporting Kansas City? Yeah.
Sporting Kansas.
They've got sports teams there currently. Yeah. They already have an arena set up called the Sprint Center.
Yes, that makes their life a lot easier.
That hosts NCAA games at the minute. So they've got a state-of-the-art NBA arena pretty much already ready to go into.
Yeah.
Don't know, could it work putting an NBA team in Kansas City?
It's pretty much smack bang in the middle of America.
Yeah, it's proper Midwest.
So I definitely think travel isn't an excuse there.
No, definitely not.
If it's got a big NFL market and a big MLS market, I suppose you could argue maybe the interest wouldn't be there as much for basketball. But then at the same time, I know, don't Kansas have quite a good college basketball team?
Yeah.
So
I also think Kansas is it's the same with sort of Denver in Colorado. I know, because they're sort of the only two major places in the middle of the country, like the Midwest area, that they do have quite a lot of areas that would support them. Like, I know the Chiefs have quite a lot of fans in that Midwestern area from multiple states, because of they're the only really sort of big teams there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you could have room I don't think Denver would be too happy maybe about putting Kansas in because it would take a few of their fans away maybe.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Kansas would attract fans from multiple states.
Yeah, definitely would. Definitely.
Dan, what
if you look at Missouri on the whole, they've got St. Louis and the cons. Well, I was just about to say they've got St. Louis and Kansas both in like Missouri area. So would it be fair to give Kansas another team when St. Louis really only has I think it's the Cardinals as a baseball team.
No, they do.
I could be wrong. And then Kansas have got the Chiefs. Is there a hockey team in Missouri?
Yeah, St. Louis Blues.
Well, I guess it could work then. But they've already got quite a few sports teams. I don't know if a basketball team.
So could you maybe argue rather than Kansas City, give it to St. Louis? It's in the same state. They're both in Missouri.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly. Because I think St. Louis has sort of less sports teams. I think the Chiefs are quite big in Kansas City itself. So maybe St. Louis would work even better.
Yeah, and then St. Louis is more to the right than Kansas City is, so it wouldn't be sort of intruding that sort of Denver fan base zone.
Yeah, Colorado, exactly. Oklahoma sort of area, yeah, exactly.
Then maybe that causes more problems. Well, actually, I was going to say the Bulls, but the Bulls will always have a strong fan base, no matter what.
Yeah, maybe Indiana.
Indiana could come into there as well.
I guess it's near there, isn't
Indiana. It? Ohio maybe as well. I don't know. But then I guess you argue with the Cavaliers fans sort of move, would the Pacers fans move? Like I think a lot of, if you're a natural fan of an NBA team, would you switch teams? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Yeah, so what would, I don't know. So if you had to choose then, both of you, assuming that this went ahead, would you put it in Kansas City or St. Louis and why?
Yeah, I'll probably go with that.
I would say St. Louis. I think Kansas City's already got the Chiefs, and I know St. Louis has got the Cardinals, but I think a basketball team in St. Louis would do much better than it would do in sort of Kansas City. I think Kansas City's main team will always be the Chiefs, whereas I think St. Louis maybe it could switch to sort of a basketball team.
I also think no matter what, whichever one they're put into, I think both teams, both cities would support the team. Because it's hardly like a struggle for people in Kansas City to get across to St. Louis and vice versa. And I think definitely in favour of what you're saying. I know obviously the St. Louis Blues already have a hockey team playing there, so that's an arena ready to move into.
So,
next, Louisville.
Ooh, Louisville, Kentucky. I said that earlier. I think Louisville could be like a good sort of destination for expansion. I mean, it's in the east, I guess.
Yeah, we're in the east.
Kentucky's east. So I think if there was an expansion, it would be like maybe you could have Seattle and Kentucky or Vegas and Kentucky. Sort of would work a bit better than two West teams.
I think like if there was to be like an NBA expansion, like you said earlier, Dan, I definitely think there needs to be an East and a West team for the simple fact is that it needs to be more even and like as well. What would happen to the playoff bracket sort of thing? You know, like if there was 17 teams in one division and then 15 in another. Would they still keep the 8? Would they add more playoff brackets in? Like, I think
it's all things that they'd have to think about.
I think it would definitely. I think if you put two teams in the same conference, I think it would definitely shake the foundations of the NBA.
Yeah.
So I think like it would definitely. Because I remember, like obviously on 2K, you can change the rules of the league. And one of the weirder rules I've seen is it gets rid of the West and the East, sort of, and it just does seeds 1 to 16.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. I've seen that idea in like floated around on NBA Twitter as well. Like just having 1 to 16 to make it like fairer because
so like
it's so weak.
So we don't want that to happen, Dan. We'll just leave it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. To be honest, at the minute,
not.
I don't want that to happen. So I was just thinking like if you put 2 Western teams in, it would definitely shake a lot of the foundations of the NBA, I think.
I think reasons for putting it in Louisville is obviously Kentucky already has one of the best college teams. It's very well known for its college basketball scene. And I would love to see that sort of Pacers and Louisville rivalry because it's so close to Indianapolis. I think that would be really good.
two sort of like smaller area teams that could have like.
I was going to say 2 cities and states who are really like into their sport.
Yeah.
Even though they're not the most major of states, they really love their sport there. Obviously, Indiana known for its NASCAR and things like that.
Yeah, I think as well, like, one good thing that could come from an expansion in the NBA is, like, if you did get a rivalry like that, is it might kind of reignite the sort of spark that players used to have when playing against rival teams. Because I know for me, when I went to New York, I seen the Nets-Knicks derby. And for me, like, as a neutral, obviously, and more of a tourist than anything, but when I was watching it, I kind of felt as though neither teams kind of had that sort of hatred that, or
I would definitely.
You know, you watch basketball in the 80s, and you can see the genuine hate between, like, the Lakers and the Celtics, the Knicks and the Nets, teams like that. Like, as a Lakers fan, you know, I absolutely despise the Clippers, but I feel as though no one, even on the Clippers, I feel as though no one hates the Lakers and no one in the Lakers hates the Clippers. And I think that's one thing the NBA, like, because the NBA is definitely getting a lot softer than what it used to be. And I think they need to bring back that sort of oomph about each other, like getting stuck into each other, because like there's nothing more frustrating than when you watch a player make an unbelievable chase and block and then they get called for a shooting foul. Like, I just think it would definitely re-spark some of the rivalries in the NBA, which could be very good for the market in the NBA as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a whole debate for another time, but I think that's a really good point. I think, obviously, being an NFL fan as well, the one thing I love so much about the NFL is how intense the rivalries are within divisions.
Even in the UK, like, I'm not being funny, we go on all the time about how much we hate Sunderland.
I hate everyone except Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I think, I just hate neutral teams probably more than I hate other NBA teams as a Magic fan.
Yeah, but like,
to be honest,
like, I think they're like, that kind of re-emphasise the point, like, you know, you said NFL, how big the rivalry in the divisions are. Football, how big the English football,
even
not American football.
In hockey, I know the rivalries are pretty big as well.
Yeah, and they're allowed to fight in there as well, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely think that would be really good, not just for the NBA, but also the fans themselves as well. Gives them something more to forward to.
I think the problem with the NBA is it's sort of missing them regional rivalries. I think the NBA doesn't have a lot of those. Like, I know you were saying you hate the Clippers, but I think in general, sort of, I don't think geography really plays a part in many NBA rivalries. Like, I know, in my opinion, the biggest NBA rivalry is Lakers Celtics, who are literally on opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think they're more competitive rivalries rather than geographical rivalries. Like, I don't like the Miami Heat, but I wouldn't say I hate the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. I know when I go on Twitter, there's a lot of Magic fans who are sort of saying they'd like to see us and Miami both make playoffs just to sort of see Dwayne Wade have a good run, which I don't think would happen. Like, say if there was a legendary player on at the Bears, I don't think a Packers fan would go, oh, hopefully us and the Bears both make playoffs because I'd like to see him have a good run.
Yeah,
they would be like, no, screw that. Want him to finish bottom.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's
that's the main difference.
But I think as well, the NBA, a lot of players kind of feel like, personally for me, as like an outsider looking in, like as a fan, I would feel so defeated going to play someone like the Warriors. And I think that's kind of why it's lost its competitive spark, because literally, 4 or 5 years in a row, it was Cavaliers versus Warriors in the finals. And I think,
literally.
And I think everyone knew it as well. You know what I mean? And then
even this season, before it started, who did everyone have going to the finals from the West?
Warriors.
I don't think there's a single person who would have had it any other way.
Yeah, exactly. And then for them to add Boogie as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a joke.
And I think it would be very defeating and make you not want to try as a player, knowing like going to like Oakland and then being like, fuck me, I've got to play 5 of the best players in the league who I haven't really got a chance against. You know what I mean? You got Steph Curry who can shoot from anywhere. Klay Thompson can shoot from anywhere. Durant, one of the best all-round players in the league. Draymond Green, dirtiest player in the league and the big crybaby, but somehow manages to fiddle the refs. And then you've got Boogie Cousins, who, although he isn't as good as he was a few seasons ago, is probably still one of the most dominant big men in the league. And
well, they literally have 5 All-Stars, don't they?
Yeah, and like you just think to yourself saying that, can you be arsed?
Well, it's like what you were saying. It's literally like going into an All-Star game, but all the All-Stars are on one team. And you're just with your teammates and you've got to go up against it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just be thinking to yourself, can it be arsed playing that tonight?
Yeah.
So
next is an interesting one. I'd also like to see another international one, Mexico City.
Oh, that I never even thought about Mexico having a team actually.
There is. I know there's Mexico games in NBA more than there is in London. They actually have a few over there.
Yeah,
I know Orlando played 2 there this season and won both.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember me and you talking about the Mexico games. I just never thought about actually putting a team there.
Yeah, they have a massive arena already there, 22,500 seats, ready to host NBA games.
I just kind of viewed it as like the London sort of thing, where like you'd have the odd occasional game there, but you wouldn't actually have a full relocation team there or expansion team there.
The weird thing with Mexico City is for some teams in the US, which I think is also sort of a pro for it, it's like closer to get to Mexico City than some teams actually in America.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, for example, Dallas and Houston are both very close to Mexico City, probably like an hour flight or something. So maybe is that like a reason to put one there? Like the travel's not an issue. They know that the fan base is there. A lot of Mexicans love their basketball.
Yeah, definitely.
They've already had games there. They've got a big stadium. There's a lot of pros going to Mexico City, I guess.
I suppose that's actually quite a good show.
I guess there's the issue of of having like fans of like Houston or whatever team, Brooklyn, New York, whatever team. If they did want to go to like to watch a game in Mexico City, it'd be very difficult.
You would need
in terms of having to cross the border, you need a passport. Whereas I know a lot of fans go to get to Florida quite easily from New York and vice versa and stuff. It would make it quite difficult. But I know there's not many road fans, so...
I was also going to say, could you argue, like you were saying there, how it's sort of in a different country and hard to get in? But then Toronto has a team in Canada to work there. So why should Mexico be any different, I guess?
I think the political situation in the US probably doesn't help as well.
Yeah, I don't think Trump would be quite happy with this.
Yeah, I think...
to say the least.
I think like that would be one... I mean, if it was a few years ago and like Obama was in power, I'd say... yeah, go for it. But I think there's a lot of animosity between the US and Mexico now, and not so much the public's fault, but more so Trump's, which I think could just pose a lot of issues and actually creating a team, which is why it might not have been in the discussion for.
So do you think that's the main con for why you would move to Mexico City? Just the sort of political heat that's there at the minute?
Yeah, definitely. It would just make it so much more difficult for actual people to go there, sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ultimately as well, I think there's not a lot of Mexican NBA players, so most of them are American and, sort of Eastern European. If you were an NBA player, would you want to move to Mexico City, move your family there and live there?
Yeah, exactly. It's not something, I mean, like, as well, you've got to think of all the actual threats that are in Mexico.
I was going to say, nothing against Mexico, obviously. We don't live there, but from the reputations that you hear about it, it doesn't sound as safe as most American cities, you could argue.
Well, it's like, I know people who have actually visited and they've been told, like, when you go, you got like a sort of 5 to 10 mile radius that you can stay in. Don't leave.
Jesus.
Like,
that's pretty bad. Like, it's not what you would want to hear if you're going to live there.
Like, that's why a lot of people, when they go to Mexico, get told to stay within the resort. So it's kind of like, which is only 5 to 10 miles to like avoid all the sort of trouble that they have there, which isn't exactly a big selling point.
So, do you think the pros for Mexico City outweigh the cons, or do you think the cons, the few that there are so serious that it just wouldn't work?
Yeah, I definitely think just the few cons that they do have would put a lot of strain on putting an NBA team in Mexico.
Yeah, I would agree. Also, the free agents going into free agency, you'd look, and Mexico City would be right at the bottom of the list, like even below some teams which we think would be near the bottom, such as like, I know if players think this, but maybe like Memphis and areas like that. I'm assuming players got quite low on their list. I think Mexico City would be even lower. So it'd be difficult to build a team there, I think.
I think if you're living in America, you probably want to stay in America. And I think Toronto is so American, even though it's in Canada. Like if no one told you and like blindfolded you and put you in Toronto and asked, "Oh, what country are you in?" You'd probably say like an American metropolitan city because it's just so similar. Whereas that's not the same case with Mexico City.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, definitely.
San Diego.
That would be quite a good place to put a team. I think they have a lot of fan interest.
I thought you would disagree with that one. I mean, that's very close to LA.
I mean, I'm not
another California team.
Exactly, I wouldn't like the team, but that, like I said before, like the NBA does need a lot more competition. That sort of, that sort of competitive rivalry. So I suppose that's why I'm more for it because it's another team for me to hate as well.
Dan, you made a good point there, which I agree with. Too many Californian teams.
Yeah, we've got 4 already. We've got 2 in LA, Sacramento, and Golden State. I don't think we need San Diego now as well. I don't think if there was an expansion, I really don't. Well,
literally, there's 5 teams in a conference. Not in a conference, in a division. So that would literally become in a division, California division if that was to happen, which seems a bit unfair to me. That's sort of, it seems like you're favouring one state over the rest, and I don't think many other.
Especially when there's so many,
a lot of other teams on this list. I was going to say, exactly, wouldn't be too happy about that, because the NBA can't come out and say, "Oh, well, we thought California needed another team."
Yeah, that's true.
I guess the pros for this though is even though because it is California, it's going to bring in money. It's going to get a good fan base.
Yeah, large market.
Yeah, I mean, especially now, watching Golden State and then LeBron going to the Lakers, the Clippers doing well this season, and the Kings have been phenomenal as well. To be fair, I suppose it's already got a growing market, and maybe like Dan said at the start of the podcast, he started supporting the Nets because he didn't want to support a fantastic team, and then the Nets have turned out to be really good, which could be the same sort of circumstance for this team in San Fran. I mean, so San Diego.
I always think new teams. This would be the case with all of these. I think a lot of people like to sway towards a new team because they can sort of say "Oh well, they're new, so I'm starting from the start." Yeah,
fan from the start,
definitely.
And I think if San Diego, obviously they've had the Chargers there. One of the most popular hockey teams at the minute is the Sharks, who are San Jose, but that's very close to San Diego. And obviously they've got I'm just reading here, they've got a casino center that's already ready to move into, which also has area around it, which can be expanded and sort of improved, renovated, I guess.
So it's just a shit Las Vegas, really, isn't it?
That's basically pretty much. But they're saying there is a centre there that they could move into.
Yeah. Plus, I guess it's a big free agent destination as well. I mean, a lot of players want.
Yeah, I was going to say if I was a player, I'd happily move to San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know Adam's been to San Diego, and he obviously felt the sort of fans' love for sports there because he became a Padres fan, which is obviously the baseball team there, and they are very passionate about their sports teams over there. But I'd ultimately think, in my opinion anyway, I think because it's in California, it shouldn't get one. There's other areas that need one first.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any others that you maybe want to throw out? New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, obviously the Nets did relocate, but New Jersey is still quite a popular tourist destination, which could bring in quite a lot of market. So, I mean, but
as well, the stadium was in a really bad area. That's why the fans never used to come. It was in a suburban sort of area in New Jersey. I think if they had a downtown sort of a team or stadium even, I think they could have definitely got more demand.
I was going to say one of the things I remember when I went to go and see the Knicks and the Nets at Madison Square Garden is I remember because it was just down the road from my hotel, and I remember looking out on a night time or even during the day and just thinking this looks unreal. And I think if you say, if it's in a rough area and the stadium doesn't look the nicest, it's not going to be exactly able to appeal to the fans, is it?
Yeah.
I guess a team in New Jersey would be sort of pointless now because most people from New Jersey just commute to watch
not
Brooklyn.
Very far.
So I guess it would make a team redundant there. Yeah, it would make a team. If a team did go there now, it would make them completely redundant, I guess.
I'll throw out one more suggestion then. I just sort of think this would be a good idea, especially if maybe Vancouver did get one in the future. I'd like to see this happen afterwards. Maybe someone like Calgary, Saskatchewan, or Winnipeg, sort of those central Canadian teams, which are close to the American border and they're all major cities. Could an NBA team work there?
Yeah, if it's close to the border, probably Calgary. That's closest, isn't it?
Yeah, Calgary's in Alberta. Calgary would be quite close. It's very close to Vancouver, Seattle, Portland.
Yeah.
I know Winnipeg is very close to Milwaukee, Minneapolis, all them sort of areas.
Yeah.
So I think either of them could work, to be honest.
Yeah, any of them could be a good shout, to be fair. Especially if like the one looking into more Canadian expansion sort of thing.
Yeah. I also think maybe, even though they're in America, sort of states like Montana, North Dakota, they might be tempted because they're closer to them and they could go watch a game there easier than someone like Minneapolis or Chicago or an area like that. They sort of go, if we want to watch the games and we can get there easier, we'll just support them.
Yeah, it would make a lot more sense and also like kind of expand the general fan base of the NBA then too.
Yeah, I just think the overlying question with any team that you're going to think about moving into Canada is, can it compete with the ice hockey team?
Yeah, definitely.
Especially because with most of them, they're going to be sharing an arena. You know, it's do the fans there want that? Do they want, if they love their hockey team so much, do they want an NBA team walking into their arena, sort of sharing it with them without their consent?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that like you say with any Canadian team, that is going to be one of the biggest questions to ask. So but I suppose it has worked quite well in Toronto, like having a team there. So there's no reason why it wouldn't work in any other city.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Then now I've got a list of teams. This is just from a random website called the Sportster, and they've made a list of teams that they think could warrant getting relocated, who are currently in the NBA, who they think maybe don't deserve a team. Number one on the list, the Brooklyn Nets.
I had a feeling. Well,
Dan, I think you should take this one, mate.
Yeah, I'll let you go first, Dan.
Yeah. Well, I can appreciate it because we do have like the lowest attendance in the league.
But that's because you have the smallest arena.
Exactly. In terms of capacity at filling it, we're still like third bottom or something. But having said that, we're relatively new to Brooklyn, so it is going to take time to sort of build a fan base there. I think it'd be really harsh to move the Nets again. Just moved like 6 years ago. It doesn't make sense to move them again.
I think the main argument for not moving Brooklyn is that New York should have two teams, the same as LA. I think that
in every other sport,
that in every sport should have at least two teams.
Yeah. So there's that argument as well, and Brooklyn's a large market area.
Yeah, Brooklyn's huge.
I think over time it definitely will. Yeah, make sense to have.
I think as well though, like if you did move the Nets again, I think that would do more damage than harm to the franchise.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like they've already been moved once. To then move them again, would people be thinking, "Oh fuck me, I can't be asked to follow this team around all every 7 years"? So I think that is another massive con with moving the Nets again.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Dan. If they were to move, would you still support the Nets, or would you change to a different team?
Let's say they move to the West. I don't think I could do it. It would just be so unrealistic. They get moved to
Seattle, because I think that's probably them or Vegas as the number one team that will get one next. Let's assume they move to either of them. Would you keep supporting them or change?
I don't think I could. I like to watch the games, and I don't think it'd be realistic for me to be able to watch like a game starting at 3 a.m. rather than one starting like 11 or half 11. So
if they moved to the East, you would stay.
I have to. Yeah, if they move to somewhere like
Louisville, someone like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd still follow the Nets all the way. But
I think the main reason people suggest this is because for years the Nets couldn't be taken seriously after that trade, and people just thought they were a joke. But I think less and less people are thinking that they should be moved because they're gaining respect now.
Yeah.
I think D'Angelo Russell deserves so much credit for how much he has turned around that organisation. It's actually ridiculous.
All I'm going to say is
Definitely,
I fucking hate
100%.
Magic Johnson.
Being
Without D'Lo, we wouldn't
being
be
sort of non-biased, then what are reasons that they should be moved away?
Well, like you said, they haven't got really any attendance going on.
Yeah, I mean the attendance is the main reason, but recently it's been building up a bit. I mean, it needs to remain consistent. I can't really think of too many other reasons why the Nets would move out of Brooklyn. A brand new arena has just been built 6 years ago. It wouldn't make sense
Barclays
to
Center's
leave
one of
that
the most
behind.
advanced arenas in the NBA now.
I mean, the draft's held there every year since 2012. So the main reason would definitely be the fan base, but I'm hoping over time that will build up a bit and people will stop thinking of Brooklyn as potential relocation.
I'll let you guess what number 2 is. No.
Memphis.
Oh, yeah, no, number Orlando. 2, the Orlando Magic. They don't rate us down, do they?
I think one of the big arguments with the Magic is, no offense, Joe, but
that's fine. No, I'm
These are shit.
And not anymore. Anymore.
You haven't exactly still got the best record this year, though, do you?
But there are so many teams in the East who are worse than us.
Oh yeah, agreed. But at the same time,
I don't think there's many teams who have improved as much as us in the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I just think as a team, although you have been around for a while, you haven't got any rings.
But the youngest team in there.
Yeah, you haven't really exactly got any franchise history.
But could you argue there's obviously other teams who haven't won a ring either?
Yeah,
and we're the youngest team in the NBA, so maybe should them teams be criticized?
But then
not criticized for that.
Then you could also argue with you being the youngest team in the NBA, you've got the smallest fan base. Obviously, I'm not saying you do, but
yeah, we're probably one of the smallest market teams. Even I would add that.
Since you aren't exactly the biggest market team and you're still young, that might be the best argument for, because they'll be thinking, well, they're not going to lose too many fans, and we've got quite a lot of gain from this. So why don't we do it?
Yeah. I think being unbiased here as well, I sort of think maybe as much as I love the Magic in Orlando, I don't know, Orlando and Florida in general's never really been that committed to their sports teams.
Yeah.
Even though the Heat won the championship, the Heat still don't get big crowds at all, and their fan base isn't that good.
I suppose the Heat, when they won their championships, was kind of a Golden State situation, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Getting
and I also think they've shown in hockey, I know Tampa's doing incredible at the minute. That's sort of a one-off, but I know the Panthers really struggle for attendance. In NFL, the Jags and the Bucks don't really have the best attendance. I just think in Florida in general, it's a problem. But then,
sport in Florida. Having said that, though, the Magic, there's so many teams that are less well supported than them. In large market teams as well, like the Clippers, I would say, are much less supported than the Magic. So it's not really fair to move a team out of Florida, one of the newest teams out of Florida, to elsewhere when I think there's definitely teams that should be higher on the list.
I think the Magic should stay because North Florida and Central Florida both, they deserve a team in that region that they can go to. And Miami's completely down south, so I think the Magic's sort of that team. I think if you did relocate the Magic, it would only be fair to put them somewhere like Jacksonville, sort of another Florida team who just have a bigger population.
Yeah.
But then I also disagree with that because I think the tourism that Orlando gets is vital for the sort of Magic's attendance. They have people going to games all the time from all over the world who are just there because they're maybe going to Disney. But then on one of the nights they'll go, oh, should we go to a Magic game? It's good for the... Yeah. And Orlando is also the home of ESPN, who are literally broadcasting the NBA and other sports. So it's quite important to have a sports team there.
I suppose as well, though, Orlando, because, Joe, obviously you said that you've been there, and, I've been 6 times. And can you say you've been to a Magic game and the entire time you've went?
I haven't been to a Magic game yet.
Yeah,
No.
you know what I mean. Like, because obviously peak times to go to August is, to Florida is between June and August.
But I'm going to argue I haven't been to Orlando since I started supporting the Magic.
Off season.
Yeah.
So if I went now, I would go to a game. I would make sure.
Yeah, but like, you know, but that is another point. Like, you know, you're saying it is tourists, but 9 times out of 10, if a person goes to Florida, it's going to be in like the summer, which is after the basketball season. So, you know, it is. Although you can say, you know, there is, because obviously there is people who go in other school holidays, like to what we have over here. You've got to think at the same time as well. Not most people do tend to go in the summer, which is obviously non-NBA time.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you think's the strongest argument for the Magic staying in Orlando and not being moved?
I mean, the surrounding area does always pose to make it as a big market team, I suppose. You know, like with having, that sounds stupid, but having Disneyland and stuff like that. And like, even like, if you just said to the kids, oh, do you fancy going to say this? You know what I mean? Like, most kids aren't going to say no.
Yeah, I also think, like I was sort of saying at the start, we have a fan base in Tampa, Jacksonville, all them areas because we're the closest team to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the fact that they're the youngest team as well in the NBA,
prove ourselves.
I think they should be given more of a chance to succeed in Orlando.
So ultimately, overall, would you keep them in Orlando or move them? I'm not going to take any offence, no matter what you say.
Nah, I would keep you there.
I would keep them.
Love that.
I would keep them.
These can come back on. Another relocation rumour is that this is in the West as well, so I think it makes sense that it would be in the West. The Phoenix Suns. There's been a lot of rumours for these getting relocated, especially to Vegas in the last few years.
I mean, Phoenix is quite. I know it's
Arizona.
They're not huge
quite a big
area,
state,
but it is quite a large market team. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if the whole state of Arizona doesn't deserve to have a team. If you know what I mean. I mean, the pros for relocating them are that they've been awful for absolutely ages, and Vegas is, I guess, up the road. Yeah. But I think
that's a good
still
point,
overall,
if they were put in Vegas,
sort of
people from Arizona could still go and watch them at the end of the day.
Yeah. Which
where it's literally just the Grand Canyons in Nevada and Arizona. So
so I suppose it doesn't really get rid of any potential market that I would have then.
Yeah, it would kill the market completely.
Yeah, exactly.
I also think for this one, the ultimate question comes down to who deserves the team more, Phoenix or Vegas. And for me, I think I know what the answer is.
Yeah,
I would say Vegas, personally.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I would struggle to say, if you were going to relocate a team, I'd struggle to say Phoenix, just because it's a really big area and they've been there for a long time. I know they've been really bad for the last few years, but remember the Nash years and stuff. They were actually an all right team. I think if there was a relocation to Vegas from the West, it would have to be a California team like the Kings or the Clippers.
Yeah.
I don't think Phoenix should be.
I think out of the three we've went through so far, I think this one would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I had to pick one of the three,
like you both said, we wouldn't be moving them that far if they were. People who live in Arizona and Phoenix could still go to the games. They could still watch them, even though they wouldn't be their Phoenix Suns anymore.
I suppose as well, though, like it would be a very good place to start up as well, because obviously, you know, you could argue that, like, you know, DeAndre Ayton is looking like one of the most promising big men since Shaq, in my opinion. You know, like, although he's not been very spoken about as a number one pick, if you actually watch his game, he's actually a fantastic player. You know, he's averaging 18 and 12 and 1.5 blocks a game.
Oh yeah, he's
which
one hell of
is
a player.
absolutely fantastic as a rookie. You know what I mean? And so, although he is a bit unsung, you know, because Doncic has been absolutely fantastic, you've also got Devin Booker there as well. And, you know, in between them two, they've got I could see them playing together for at least 10, 15 years.
And they're probably going to have at least a second pick this
and
year.
they've also got TJ Warren, who's not a bad player, and Kelly Oubre. So it's not like they've got a bad squad or anything. They just need time to... I think with them having a lot of young players, they haven't exactly got that leader yet. But I think, if you move them to Vegas, it's a fresh start, It is a fair... although they have been poor, if you look at the roster, it actually is fairly decent. So I think if, put them there, and if they get the second pick this year, go for Jam Morant, you have an amazing backcourt.
Or they could even go for RJ Barrett. I mean, whoever gets number one's going to get
Zion.
Unless
it was a massive shock, but I can't say that happened.
I mean, they could still get number one. I think everyone's sort of accepted, like, it's probably going to be the Knicks, but the Suns could still get Zion. It's possible.
The worst three teams because they changed it, so everyone's got a 14% chance this year, the worst three teams. Yeah. So they've all got an equal chance, but we all know that the draft's rigged, exactly. So we'll go with the Knicks. Again.
I think I was mentioning, obviously, they're not too far away. And Dan, you said before that if the Nets moved and stayed in the East, you would still follow them. Do you think that would be the same case for the Arizona fans?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think if the Suns did move to Vegas, I think
they would just be
all Suns fans would just be Vegas Suns fans now.
Animosity.
Yeah, definitely. I think at first there might be a bit of a uproar, but I think eventually they'd accept it. It's not far. Yeah. It's much more realistic than a team moving from the East to the West. It just makes much more sense.
Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, and
North Carolina. I was going to say.
And do you think MJ would really let that happen as well?
At the end of the day, yeah, they need
to. Actually.
Yeah, I'd definitely.
Saying that, I'm just reading here. Jordan said last season he was thinking about selling the team, which would lead to a relocation, and he even said he would move it himself if the controversial HB2 law wasn't enacted in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that strong of an attachment to the area.
Yeah, just the way that they went on with Kemba, saying, no one's getting them, blah, blah, blah. I just assumed that he'd feel the same way about the Hornets. But if that's the case, then why not relocate them?
And where do you think, if that was to go through, where would that relocation happen to? I'm assuming it would probably stay in the East, just for seed and sake. Maybe the closest team, like Louisville, that we were going through before, maybe. Yeah. I'd like to see. I think out of everyone that we went through before, even though obviously ignoring the major two, which is Vegas and Seattle, I'd love to see Louisville.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Moving on again, and I completely disagree with this one. The Milwaukee Bucks. Completely disagree.
Let's not even talk about that.
That's a joke, yeah.
No, you can't move them.
Yeah,
I think...
I'm reading it. It gives reasons why. It says on this one, when Herb Cole sold the franchise several years ago, one of the deals of the sale was that the Bucks wouldn't be relocated. But that deal didn't last long, and the new ownership group came in, and they decided to build a new stadium. They demanded over $250 million in taxpayer money and threatened to relocate the team to Seattle or Vegas if they didn't get it. So the owners obviously don't, they're not loyal to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But I still think that's so far-fetched.
I think with this season as well, like how well they've been playing, I think it's just unrealistic.
Yeah. So I guess even though there's not many, why would this make sense?
I don't even know.
Exactly. It's a joke. Wisconsin deserves a team in every sport, and it needs one in hockey. I'm just going to say that on this podcast now. It's a joke. But that would no. Moving on. The New Orleans Pelicans. This one's more realistic than the last, but also for me, I still think New Orleans should have a team again.
Yeah.
I guess New Orleans doesn't have a team in every sport. They don't have a hockey team. They don't have an MLS team. So they don't have a team in every major sport. But I think, I don't know, that the basketball team doesn't have too much history. Quite a relatively new team. Yeah, one of the lower attendances.
The Pelicans aren't that well supported either.
This could happen.
Yeah.
If I don't know, what's the main reason why this would happen if it did go through? Yeah,
I mean, it's just
Louisiana,
a small market area, if you know what I mean, and plus with them losing AD as well, is like I think the demand could fall off even more. They're already like I think bottom 5 or bottom 10 at least in attendance with AD.
Yeah,
they lose AD, that could drop even more, and
no direction.
Before you know it, you're bottom of the
Definitely.
attendance, and no one's coming to the games.
And then what would be the main reason for the stay?
Exactly.
I honestly don't know.
Oh, so maybe this is a likely relocation.
Yeah, I honestly can't think of a reason why they'd want to stay, sort of thing. So
yeah.
I mean, you could argue they need a team, but then you look at sort of the attendances, and
I think
maybe they don't even want
a very NFL.
Well, they don't need a
they
team.
all love their Saints.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and they don't show anywhere near as much love to the sort of Pelicans.
mm-hmm.
So I guess I was going to say, you mentioned
it's sort
Kansas
of similar
City.
with the
Is that
Chiefs,
sort of what's happening in New Orleans?
Kansas
Do you
was
think
going to get
what
a
you
team,
said
sort
could
of similar
happen
to
in
that.
Kansas City? Do you think maybe, like how you were saying, Kansas City, that could happen where they love their NFL team too much? Do you think that's what's happening now to the New Orleans Pelicans?
Yeah, I think that's what's I think that's a similar situation to what the Pelicans are in now. Like the Saints are very well supported, so
yeah,
that's probably why they're not so well supported. If you know what I mean.
Next, I actually do agree with this one. The Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, I'd say out of all the teams, and especially since relocation's looking more west, like Seattle or Vegas, I think they're probably
because
the
it's North Carolina,
team to get relocated.
not North Carolina, North California, and the Warriors are there, like so close to them, and I just think there's no reason to have two teams there. It just doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah, true.
And even though the Sacramento Kings have had a class season, well, not class, but good for their standards this year, they've been a laughingstock for so many years before this. And they got,
I mean, they're still on the longest playoff drought since I think
last year they got voted the second most irrelevant major sports team in the US.
Wow. I think this year they've definitely shocked people. Like I've never seen them doing as well as what they are now. So I suppose you can argue there that they are doing absolutely incredible, and why kind of jeopardize that now, sort of thing. If you get what I mean.
I'm not sure. Do you reviews know what Sacramento's attendance is like? I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure,
But I think California has 4 teams at the minute. To be honest. I don't think it would do any damage to only having 3.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And out of the California teams, Kings are probably the least well supported.
Finally, then, the last one. I disagree with this as well. Atlanta Hawks. Oh, you agree? Why?
I was going to say I agree with that. Yeah, they've got like a big stadium, and in terms of percentage, they fill it the least.
Yeah,
and they're a large market team. You'd really expect them to like get the fans, draw the fans in. I know they've been bad for a few years.
Yeah, it's weird as well because basketball culture is so
get
huge
some sort of fans into the stadium.
Why do you think that is?
That's what I was going to say.
How a team
they just don't get the support,
centralised in its culture around basketball, but people don't want to watch them
because they're shit.
Do you think that's literally the only reason why?
I literally think the team's awful. I genuinely do. Otherwise, people would definitely
say if they were at the
them.
level of the Sixers. Do you think that they would be selling out their arena?
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. I think they'd be flip from near the bottom to top 5, top 10 at least in terms of attendance. But so I guess maybe they shouldn't be relocated just because they're having a bad spell.
I'm just reading
a couple of years,
a few years ago,
one of the best teams in the NBA
that they were going to get moved to Seattle. Would you maybe like to say that them being in the East, moved to Seattle? And east to the west and other way around.
I don't like the idea of moving.
I think it's just impractical, because
western
they're not
areas.
in the east or
I don't like
in
the
the
idea of
west.
doing that.
Yeah,
you literally lose a whole fan base.
No, definitely not.
So I don't really like the idea of moving a team from east to west. I think if they were going to move, it has to be Louisville or.
So you think
St. Louis,
Atlanta's
like
just struggling with the 10s purely just because the team's not doing that well? So, yeah. So does that
for the last
warrant
few years they've not
a
been
relocation then? If the fans don't like a bad team, I guess.
Yeah, having thought about it a bit, yeah, maybe it's a bit. It would be really hard to like sort of move them just because they haven't
the
bad few
Pistons
years
had the
and they don't
worst
fill the
percentage
stadium.
attendance, didn't they? And they're not doing bad at all. So maybe a team like Detroit should be criticised. Although I think Detroit at the same time, I don't know. Detroit
That's
could
true.
be moved for me because they're not that much of a legendary team.
Nah, definitely not.
I think they had that run into
since
where
like
they
the
won the
bad boy
championship
Pistons days,
2005
they
or something.
sort of
But other
haven't
than
done
that, I
anything
can't really
memorable.
think of.
Yeah, I really haven't done anything.
Yeah. But Detroit is quite a large market area. I guess Atlanta
Detroit's
as well. That's the issue
Detroit's
with moving
bang
a team
in the
out of a
middle
large
of
market area.
Toronto, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indiana, all of them. Yeah, I don't know. Could be one to think about. But ultimately, you think the Hawks shouldn't be moved then now?
Nah. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
I haven't thought about it. Maybe it would be harsh to move them.
To finish off then, I'm going to ask both of you your ideal relocation. Which team should move and where to? I'll start with you, Lewis.
Oh, that's quite a hard question. Like trying to pick one team to then. If I was gonna say anyone, I'd probably say either Pelicans, or the Suns probably, and say move them to Vegas.
Yeah, why?
I just think if any team's going to get moved, they're going to get moved to Vegas. And I think it's just because Vegas is just such a rapidly expanding city. The sports there are rapidly expanding, and I think it gives a chance for the culture there to kind of explode as well, sort of. And I think it's the same as sort of like Los Angeles and New York. It's such a big market, and it's so stupid to not have a team there.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be some of my main reasons why. I just think it's the most logical step forward in like the advancement of the NBA.
Yeah, definitely. They're all fair points.
Yeah.
Dan?
I think the Grizzlies to Louisville. They're quite close together. They're not exactly far.
We didn't even discuss Memphis.
Crowds,
they weren't even on this list.
Area.
Why do you think?
Yeah,
Memphis
they weren't even on the list.
move?
I'd say they're near the top of mine. Memphis, Sacramento. I mean, I know I keep bringing up attendance, but
I think
they
if
are
your
near the
attendance
bottom
is
of the
poor,
attendance.
you're always going to leave
Small
yourself
market
open
team,
to
not many
rumors of
players
getting moved, so
really
that's
want to be
more
there.
than fair enough.
Exactly. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tennessee really needs a basketball team.
Yeah,
they've got the Titans.
I know the biggest team in Nashville
the Grizzlies aren't that well
is
supported.
sort of the Predators. They're doing really well in hockey. They've got PK Subban, who's sort of like one of the biggest stars in hockey at the minute. So, sort of, there's not much attention on the basketball team.
So maybe that's why.
I also think for the last 2 years, the Grizzlies have been very poor.
And I think. Yeah, I was just about to say they've not been exactly a great, and that's one of the reasons they moved out of Vancouver is because the team was.
I was going to say, would you say that relocation?
So if we're using that same logic,
Vancouver to Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say it was.
And
I think they needed to relocate, maybe,
to Louisville?
but definitely not to Memphis. It just hasn't worked out. I think Louisville would be a good area for the Grizzlies to move to.
I would love to see that.
In Kentucky, I think they'd be well supported. Plus, then you have the.
I think if I just sort of throw in my opinion as
I agree. If there's going to be East relocation,
as much as I think Vegas deserves one, I think Seattle probably just deserves one more, just sort of because they got screwed over so hard last time with like the Supersonics getting moved out. So I'd love to see if there was to be an expansion. I think the ideal situation for me would be expansion to Seattle and Louisville, and then maybe moving the Suns into Vegas. That's what I'd probably like to see.
Yeah, that's definitely a realistic shout.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure talking to you, lads. Love to have you back on again. Cheers for coming on. Thanks to everyone for listening. See you later.